So welcome everyone to Monday with Masami and Chris. No parentheses. Yay! That is official. Okay, whether Chris likes it or not. He's like, oh, don't just leave me in parentheses. I'm like, nah, sorry. There are too many people that are complaining that you have parentheses around your name. So it's no longer parentheses, Chris. Okay. And today is what? January 25th. Wow. You know, in Japan, we have this saying that January is called Ichigatsu, right? And then February is Nigatsu, and then March is Sangatsu. So when I was growing up, my mom will say, you know, you better focus on this moment because Ichigatsu rhymes with the word iku, meaning goes away very fast. And Nigatsu rhymes with the word nigeru. And then nigeru means to run away. So February will run away if you don't focus on it and if you're not in the moment. And then Sangatsu, March, is saru. Saru is to be gone, to be gone. So, you know, my mom always said the first 3 months are going to move really, really fast. So stay focused, be in the moment. Just know that it's not the same speed that you will experience the rest of the year, but the first 3 months are very much a key because it sets the stage for the rest of the year. And before we go into VUCA world a little bit more, we're on the third one, which is the complexities today, or complexity. Yeah. I wanted to just kind of come back to what I've talked about the first week and the first time in January when we started the Masami Monday with Masami again. I mentioned that the January is the time for you to come up with a theme for the year. So I would love to know some of the themes that you have been coming up with. And I would like to read that and see where you guys are at, because make sure if you don't have the theme yet, please start thinking about it. Start thinking about, you know, how do I get my theme set up? And then what is the bigger picture that I want to manifest, what I want to accomplish, the resonates with you for 2021. And some of my clients have been sharing this with me. So I would love for some of you to post it, love to hear it. Chris, do you want to share your theme? I think it might be great.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Yeah, my theme has been spreading my wings. And it's really just, I would say, a combination of a gut feeling. So it's an intuitive sense. And it's also coming from a real desire to see what's really ahead of me. There are a lot of things opening up right now. And what I do know about myself is that if I don't lean into the discomfort of spreading those wings out that can get a little cramped and confined and used to being tucked under, because I'm not using them all that much a lot of the time. I want to be in a place where I'm really fully opening them up. And I'm reminded of an image from Rumi where he says to live as if you're an eagle poised for flight that's just gripping to the cliff edge. So it's that readiness and the willingness to take off when the time comes and just step into opportunities as they open up. So let's look at some of the other ones because there's several that are coming through. Let me just roll.
Yeah, let's do, because I think flying and being ready to take off, to soar up into the sky, into the cosmos, that's a big theme for a lot of people that I've been talking to. So
can I just say, Joanne, thank you for that comment. She says, glad you're now released from the parentheses. Then much easier to spread your wings. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. He needs to come out of these.
My parenthetic existence is over. I'm going to be free. Okay.
Well, do you want to read some of the themes from the top part? Yeah, it's been coming in.
So let's just see where, okay, wow. A lot of you have already, you're way ahead of us. Okay, so let's take, so Joanne started with presence. Teresa said wholeness. And as I'm reading these out, I want you all just to think about 2 or 3 concrete actions that you can take that are going to help you to realize this theme on a daily basis. So these don't have to be monumental goals or tasks. Just what are small things you can do to keep yourself in motion? Is it Maria? Yes, Maria, not Marla, says, adding to my above comment. Okay, we'll come back to you, Maria, about your question a little bit later. Let's stick with the themes for now. Sharon says happiness. Iris says opportunity. Karen, self-love and forgiveness and trust. Susanna says creating myself. This is coming for me for some time, as well as spreading my wings too. Okay, good. Fellow wing spreader. Janice says Wali, or Vali, I think is maybe how that's pronounced. Mary Jo
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Janice, you can pop in a little note to explain a little bit more of the context for yours. That might be, I think this is kind of a, if I remember that, this is almost like an aho kind of statement, but tell us if you have another.
Actually, it was an error. Can y'all hear me? It was an error, but maybe not.
Now that we've got you,
so
now you're on the spot. So now you have to say, what is
so the next, so that it was an error. I hit the button too soon and it was a mistype. My comment follows that one.
Okay, so say it now and I won't have to read it.
Yeah.
We've got you.
Walking through.
Oh, that's a good one.
Everything instead of parentheses, walking around.
Nice. That's a
nice. So you're going in, not just looking around and going, I know I need to go in there, but I'm going to take a little side road and look at it.
Tour. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't. So what does the Wali means then, Chris? Wadi or what?
That might be getting down a rabbit hole a little bit.
Okay.
So let's leave that one.
Okay. So speak my truth.
Mary Jo speaking my truth. Linda says I'm fluid.
No, but we have to read Mary Jo's speak my truth.
My truth.
That resonates with me. I think she has always spoken the truth, but it's her truth now. So,
yes. Okay. Linda says, I am fluid. That's a good one for this VUCA world theme that we're talking about this month. Carla says, home and community of love. Okay, nice. Kate says, love and joy. Love and joy, but then she says, isn't the theme for 2021. So maybe, Kate, if that's your not theme, tell us what your theme is. Lynn says, express my authentic self and celebrate being seen and heard through my creative projects. Now that is a very pointed one. I like that. Mary says, to live the life I was born to live. So again, what are some steps you can take? Some concrete things you can do each day to put that into motion. Let's see. Another Susanna says gratitude. Kate, love and joy is my theme. Okay, got it. Yes, curse the spell check. I've been embarrassed several times by mine.
I read it as, isn't that the theme for 2021 for everyone? Is kind of what I thought she was saying.
All right, let's take a couple more. Pam says intentional alignment, mind, body, and spirit. Kathy says, my theme is love and play. Yes. Play is something we've all been missing, I suspect.
I love that.
Mary, embodiment. Andrew, owning my own God self.
And take more fish oil, Andrew.
And take more fish oil. Carrie says, lightening up in body, mind, spirit, and physical surroundings. Pam, meditation, prayer, nature. Samantha, fullness with flexibility and joy. Argenia says, being truly at home within myself, regardless of my experiences. Annette, I want to be a conduit of love. All right. Mary
I
Bose,
love it.
writing and spending more time in nature. And Sarah says, read Genesis through devotion. Lorraine, moving forward. All right.
So Maria, did you read that one? This is first time here. Welcome. Freedom to breathe, live, enjoy, create powerful life. Universe supports, loves, and respects me.
Oh,
I would say, Maria, come up with a theme that is everyone maximum 3 words, like a 3 things. Because I think that the universe tells me so anyway, that my guys or my intuition and my wisdom says, don't make it too many, because we start to allocate our energies to all of them. And maybe at the end of the year, you go, well, I got a little bit of joy here. Maybe I got a little bit of breath here. I got a little bit of this enjoyment. I think that, really the theme for 2021 is to really focus in. So you don't have everything but the kitchen sink for your theme. Okay. That intentions can be different. Intentions can be like a monthly intentions, might be a little bit poetic, maybe something that you write it out. But theme is something that you could just go, yep, my theme is this. And I told you that last year's my theme was fun. That was my theme, fun. I wanted to have fun around what I was doing. And through fun, I was becoming more passionate about what I was doing. I was having so much joyful moments and playfulness because I was having fun with it. So that was my theme. And so if you can really kind of like button that up and make it concise, that would be really helpful for your guys in a cosmic energy to channel that for you. Okay.
I wanted to just add to that really quick that the theme, if you imagine it as has the function of alignment. So that theme and the thematic energy and what you put into that is going to help line up all of the energies and efforts that you put forth. So
she made it shorter. She said, I'm fully loved, respected, and supported, with the question. I would even just say, I am love, and respected and supported. I am love, and I'm in support, or something like that. Chris, will you help me with that? I am love. I am fully supported. I am supported. I'm not sure support is the word here. It makes it a little bit. It's like, okay, so what I want you to do, okay, Maria, is to think about what is it that you need support with, and what areas of your life you need respect. Okay, maybe that's where I'm kind of wanting to know a little bit, because this is all about maybe the actions of outside of you that you want to receive from. But what if you are already respected, and you already do respect yourself, and you already support who you are, and you know your love? Then what is it that you get to experience in that place? If you stood in that place, what would that be? So that's kind of something to think about. I don't know, Chris, you want to add, but release, trust. What's this Dixie self-love? What does Dixie means in this case?
Is Dixie.
What is it, Chris? I can't hear you. Okay, and have fun. I stopped that. I know, right? To have fun. And Iris, can you speak up a little bit, please, Chris?
Sorry,
yeah, I have
having
a hard
some
time.
audio issues there. I think I've got it fixed.
No, I can hear you now better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Abundance and abundant ease. Yeah. My first time here too. Mine is healthy, energetic boundaries. Ooh, I like that. So let's come back to Maria, and then maybe we can come up with something just concise for her. Okay. So my theme this year is reach. So it's kind of the reach in terms of range of motions, but the reach can be reach of my voices, my work, but also my wings. I want to be able to stretch myself and learn from it and learn what my reach is about, you know? So that's my theme, is reach, because I had so much fun last year. I would like to test out my reach. So that's where I'm at. Don't know what happened when I hit enter, but I would like to add what I originally wrote, which was play, right? And spend time in nature. Yeah, I can feel that, Mary. All right. So those are good start. I mean, this is fabulous. So you want to write this down on a sticky note and put it somewhere really prominent. Or you can make an art. I had a client a couple days ago that created an art, and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's your theme." And it was a gorgeous art. So I told her to put it up somewhere that she can always be looking at and connect with the theme. And don't make it too complicated. Something that you can just even glance at it and you know what that feels like in your body. What you write has to be felt in your visceral space. I want you to feel it in like right underneath your belly button area. Okay. It should vibrate right around there and says, yeah, this is yummy. This is delicious. Okay. That's the kind of thing you're going for. Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll come back. Another Mary says, oh, okay. So mine would be discipline, presence, and play. Ooh, you know, the playfulness, you know, playing games and being in play isn't always about just random acts, right? There's a little bit of discipline around playfulness, isn't there? So I like that you combined the discipline and the play and being present together, because I think that's what describes, maybe in psychology, that is kind of the definition of the flow. When somebody's in the flow, they're disciplined about it, being in that space, but there's some playfulness and the flow of the breath is happening, and they're very much in the now. So Mary, I think you described what flow is.
I have a quote from Nietzsche that is very much on point with that one. And he said that there's nothing more serious than a child at play. So there you go.
Yeah, say that again.
So yeah, this is Friedrich Nietzsche, and he said there's nothing more serious than a child at play. So he actually puts the comma after child. So there's nothing more serious than a child, comma, at play.
I think that's where you're going with, Mary. Yeah, I love that you put those three things together like that. I love it. Okay, so I will come back to you, Maria. Okay, and let's go to the third one of the VUCA world, because that's the theme that we've been going. Well, theme, or I guess theme for the January is the VUCA world, and the third one is complexity. And the first one was the volatility, and the second one is uncertainty. The third one now is complexity. And, just kind of even sit with that word. And I would love for you to just pause and think about what your childhood was like. There were, layers of complexities. I mean, just being on this earth has that. But from that point to today, look at the layers that been added to the complexities of how world operates these days, and how interconnected we are and intertwined we are. And it's truly, and I don't know if it's actually a science, but when the butterflies in Hawaii, flaps their wings, and then their different waves are created all across the universe, all across the earth. That's kind of what's happening. So everything you do, how you interact with yourself every day, how you show up to the world really does impact the rest of us and rest of the world. And that's what makes it very complex also. And I think we are going, we're in the more of a dynamic world. It's not, like we've been saying, it's not 2 + 2 = 4 anymore. It's not very linear world anymore. It's very complicated in that way. So it's hard to analyze things because there are multiple factors involved in it, and there are greater varieties. variations. And there's that interconnectedness I talked about, and complexity around just internal environment to external environment, to the outside politics, to the inside your home front politics. There's so much going on, and we are all sharing that. We're all reaching out to the world with it. So many of us are, coming into this world, not just between your neighbors, but we get to talk across the globe right now at totally different time zones from multiple countries. So there's that complexity that we all have to juggle somehow. So that's one. But what does that do to our psyche? What is that doing to our nervous system? What is that doing to our digestive systems? It can be pretty intense. And then the word that I use often would be buzzing. Like, I feel there's a lot of buzzing that happens. And so one of the practices that Chris has brought into our relationships is we are trying to actually hug each other just a little bit longer. So it's one of those things that you may want to start to do, even the self-hug, to hug yourself for not just a few seconds, but 20 seconds. So what we've been doing is to calm our nervous system from fight or flight and possibly going into the freeze mode. We are saying, okay, hug time, and then we'll hug each other, and we actually literally stand and count to 20. And in that time, the complexity is still there, but my nervous system isn't buzzing with it and taken into different areas, and then shattered and scattered. Okay, and scattered kind of a nervous system we talked about last week. So maybe practice that. Even now when you're listening to us, just hold yourself for at least 20 seconds. Hold yourself for 20 seconds. Not just a quick, okay, I'm good to go. But it takes a little longer right now because there's just too much to sort out. Okay. And the image that I have of this complexity is, have you ever had those onions that when you peel away at the layers, or you're trying to cook the onion and you cut him and there's a baby onion inside the bigger onion, and you go, oh, hey, there's a baby onion inside. I feel like that's kind of what I'm discovering with complexity, is that it's no longer just peel away at one layer at a time, then maybe we'll achieve the health. But within that, there's another onion showing up. And then within that, there's another one. It's like almost like the Russian dolls that you keep, pulling off the head, and then there's another one, and then there's another one. But it just seems like within another one, there's another doll that's hidden that we didn't even know was there. So it's truly multi-layered. And I want to kind of bring this back to the level of the physiology also. Because when I work with clients, often people say, well, can you just tell me how much to take? And then can you just tell me when to take it? And is this for this? I have these symptoms. I've been told to take these supplements for these symptoms. It's not that simple, really. And it's a little more complex. There's a complexity around this. And the dosing needs to be changed often. This is what I said last Monday, is that please muscle test yourself a little more often right now. I would say the first 3 months or so, okay, because it's going to move really fast. And know that there are more layers to this. And I get questions like, well, when can I stop taking the stomach digestive support? I'd much rather have you not focus on when can I stop, but how do I feel today? And is this serving my body today? Because we don't know what's going to throw off your digestive systems, right? Your stomach digestion will go down if you have stress. If you're getting any older than last year, your stomach acid and then digestion is going to slow down also. And the weather can impact it, different, systems in the world, complexity can impact it. So we don't know how much of the digestive support you're going to do from day to day to day. So I can't just give you an answer and say, oh, in 6 months, you don't have to do that. I don't know. So just stay in this moment a little bit more. And also just a couple things about the bodily complexity is that it's what you eat matters. Obviously, your diet matters, but how you eat, when you eat, what are you combining the food with, okay? And also, who are you eating with? And are you absorbing? Are you digesting? Are you assimilating? And do you have toxins? Do you have environmental toxins that are coming through your home? Do you have mold in your house? Have you been exposed to mercury? Do you see that the layers are so much more? So let's not just, I don't want you to just say, I just need to do some liver cleanse and I'll be fine. You know, if it's that easy, I think you would have maybe found, well, the fact is, okay, I'm not going to even finish that sentence, but it's not that easy. It's a little more complex than that. So let's take step by step here. And just to kind of give you how much body burden we have of toxicity these days. So it was a 2005 environmental working group studies showed that there were over 200 chemicals in the babies, newborn babies, over 200 chemicals, okay? So that's the newborn babies. That means we've been on this earth a little longer than the newborn babies. That means we also have layers and layers of chemicals and toxicities in us too. So it's kind of a daily practice. You want to attend to your body regularly. It's not something that you say, I'm just going to do a juice cleanse for next 3 weeks and I'll be fine. You know, if it's that easy, really. So attend to yourself a little bit more regularly. In order to do that, you have to have a little more energy. So hugging yourself, or find somebody that will give you 20 seconds hug. That can be very good. And Chris will have some other examples too. But this is where, if you don't attend to yourself daily, and if you're not digesting your life every day, then you are going to accumulate, Chris and I coined this term, karmic, so bodily karma is what we've coined this word, bodily karma. And you're going to start to accumulate bodily karma in you, in your liver, in your gallbladder, in your colon, in your brain, in your lungs, in your heart. So attend to yourself just a little bit more every day, just a little bit more, okay? And, you know, I think these are things that we've been talking about, but try not to look for just one answer, because there's no perfect solution and there's no single path. There's no such thing as this is my only path. I think within the path that you're on, there will be a little sideways you can veer off to and explore and maybe be playful around it. Okay. So staying flexible, I think it's going to be the key, because the complexity causes us to go into the overwhelm. And overwhelm is one of the, I think the overwhelm will lead to anxiety and worry and stressors. So overwhelm is like the first twinge of those emotions. So pay attention to overwhelm. How much information am I getting through the internet? Am I signed up for too many things? Am I making things a little too complex here? Can I just come back to this breath now? You know, you have a lot of practices that we've been talking about, so you can incorporate some of that. So I'll pause here for a moment. And last thing is that there's a beauty in these layers, complexities as well. So it's not the good or bad. Just know that when you start to feel twinge of overwhelm, sit back, 20 minutes of hug, come back, not 20 minutes, 20 seconds of hug, and then breathe. Get back in touch with your own system. And then come back in, because our bodies were never meant to juggle this many moving parts. Human bodies haven't evolved that dramatically in the time that we've been on this earth. So the complexity, the speed of complexity is too fast for us to keep up with. Okay, so then you need to slow down and ground yourself before we attend to more complexity. Okay, Chris, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to start with commenting on what you were saying earlier about that 20-second hug, because Janice mentioned how that, I'm kind of reading into your comment, Janice, but that it's similar to the effect of meditation. And then Joanne also mentioned that there have been times where she's had tachycardia, which is where your heart is racing. And so somewhat by definition, your nervous system is on the stress side, the sympathetic side. And she did the hugging with her husband, focused on her breath with him together, and it did work to calm the system and to reduce the tachycardia. So I want to mention just very quickly about why that's important to do it, especially if you're somebody who's experiencing overwhelm, because in this world of complexity, so many of us we're overextended, and we have come to interact with information because it's everywhere. We're in this sea of information, and the default position for us a lot of the time is that information is essentially flat. So it's almost as if all information is equally meaningful or not meaningful. It's just coming at us at so much speed and volume that it's very hard to, I mean, I look at my inbox every day and I get literally hundreds of emails. And it's something like that. I'm constantly scanning through and I'm deleting things. I'm trying to get rid of things so that I can get to what matters. But our minds get caught up in that. And so what ends up happening is we are constantly in this alert, adapted stress response of fight or flight. And we're never quite finishing it off. We're just jumping from one stress to another. And so we don't get to do what's called completing the stress cycle. And that's what this 20-second pause and other exercises like that, where you are essentially coming together with ideally another person that you trust. You're both standing grounded on your own 2 feet. You're not leaning against each other, but you're both physically and symbolically using your own strength to stand up, but you're hugging each other, and you do it longer than you would do a social hug, the little pat on the back, kind of bounce off of each other and then walk away. This is an embrace where you're holding yourself long enough for your neurotransmitters to start firing, because you cannot help but feel safe once you are in that position. It might be a little awkward at first, but eventually you'll notice your body completely relaxes. And that's that release of the neurotransmitter oxytocin, which is the one that it helps to finalize that stress cycle. And it also helps us to feel connection with ourselves and with the other person. So I just wanted to mention that very quickly, because this complexity leads to overwhelm. Overwhelm is a kind of stimulation. And so when we're stimulated all the time, it's very easy to find yourself frequently exhausted. And we have this idea, we've probably all heard of the acronym FOMO, so it's this fear of missing out. And that drives a lot of our behavior to just, scroll through all these social media accounts, and again, email, read things constantly, listen to things, watch videos, make sure you're caught up on everything. And so what I find so interesting and challenging about this is that, when we talk about wellness, for example, there are a few things that stand out. One, wellness is simple when it comes down to the number of things that you actually need to focus on. Now, that doesn't make them easy to do. It takes dedication, it takes practice, it takes learning, it takes making mistakes. But the number of things that you actually have to take care of is not everything. It's a small number of things that you can probably count on one hand at a time. So that reduces the complexity right there. But the other side of that is we often forget, if we ever even gave it any thought, that we've really mixed up this idea of priority. And I just want to say that the English language has taken the word priority, which means that which stands before, or that which must come before. And we went from it being one priority. That was the original usage of the word. It was just one priority. And now we have priorities, plural, lots of them, endless priorities, which really just becomes a wish list. It just becomes another flattening of what's valuable to us. It's just a whole long string of things that we feel somehow we should do to be a good person. So if we can get back to that idea of priority, singular, what must be done now? That's something that gets at our confusion. That's one definition for confusion, in fact, is not knowing what to attend to first. So I just want to wrap these things together when we're talking about complexity. And I think I'll hand it back to Masami here in just a second. I've got a quote I want to share about this, but I may come back to it later. I just want to say finally, though, that it's not our job, even though our brains and our minds pretend that it is, it's not our job to wrap our mind around the entire universe. Okay, that's not our responsibility. We do not have to wrap the universe with our mind and know and understand every detail about it. So if we can keep to the priority of our lives right now, in this moment, and respond to that in simple ways, we're going to find that the complexity of these times doesn't have to be a constant drain on our energy and our ability to move forward in life.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And I think that's why it comes back to the theme, don't make it too complex, because there's the beauty in the simplicity too. Even though we know the world is complex, we also have to contend with the fact that our bodies can't take this many layers of things that we have to work through. It's too much. Our bodies haven't evolved physiologically that much yet. So we might, but currently it can just cause a lot of overwhelm. And that's when your digestion is going to slow down. That's when you're going to start to get energy depletions. You are not going to sleep well. And when Chris was talking about what he was sharing, the word that I wanted to share, word as in the practice that I would love for all of you to really focus on, is sleep. Please prioritize your sleep. I think so many of us are just buzzing right up to the point of you have to go to bed. And you're reading things, you're listening to things, and you might say, no, I have a good, sleep hygiene. I don't have any of that stuff. But then I come to find out that they're listening to like some sort of a book on audio, audiobooks and things like that, or they're reading something up to the point that they're falling asleep. They could barely keep their eyes open while they're reading. It's just stillness and pauses and silence. Our brains need that. Brain actually clean itself out, as you probably, many of you know from me talking about this, has the system to clean the brain, but it happens during the deep sleep. Deep sleep, when your brain waves are not in the very active REM cycle of the sleep, but during the non-REM cycle of the deep sleep. So you want to create a little bit of pauses and stillness and nothingness, sometime just, periodically during the day, and particularly right before you go to bed. So 20 minutes to maybe a half an hour, you start to dim the lights, or maybe just light a candle, or just really not even reading. If you could do some of that, I think your body can work with this complexity. That's a lot of demand on this physical body that is not used to this. That's why all of us really need to sometimes go back to, what was my childhood like? Did I have that level of complexities when I was growing up? Most of us will say, no, we didn't. That doesn't mean that I'm saying good old days. It has nothing to do with that. It's just we weren't equipped to be physically in this level of information and constant doing and constant bombardment of toxic stuff that comes through our water, toxic air, toxic emotions, toxicity in the foods. I mean, you name it. And then that becomes your bodily karma because it gets stuck and it can't move. So pay attention to emotions like overwhelm. That's a really good emotions to one of the sensations, feelings to pay attention to is go, ooh, I'm overwhelmed. Okay. That's an entryway to making me go into the depth of like maybe even depression, anxiety, worries, ruminating. Those things can start to happen if you start to get overwhelmed. So stop. Okay. And one of the things that the Chris and I do really well is that we sit down and we eat. We're not watching TV while we're eating. We're not looking at the computers while we're eating. We're just eating. Just eating. Just do that every day. One meal a day. Okay. You want to share a couple things, and I wanted to make sure that we go over that question that I had about the skin issues. Yeah.
Let's actually maybe pause here for just a moment to make our announcements so we don't run out of time at the end.
Okay. And there's some good comments that came in too.
Yeah. So do you want to start with those, and I will pull those links up.
Okay. And then so some of you have already opened the email, but the Shift Network is doing the 60-minute free interview that I will be recording tomorrow. It'll air this Saturday and I had the time wrong on the email, so I will correct it. It's 10 o'clock Pacific time, 11 Mountain time, and then it'll be 1 o'clock Eastern time. And then I think in UK, you add 7 hours to that, I believe. So that'll be 8 o'clock your time. So that is wow, that's a long link, Chris, but I guess you can cut and paste that one. But that will be the free interview that I will be doing with Stephen at the Shift Network. And I will go over some breathing techniques for to clear the lungs a little bit more, prepare ourselves for, who knows what the COVID is going to show us this year. So I will go over that, as well as some brain clearing tools that it's just been so much fun. I've been downloading so many stuff that's coming to me. So please join and I will take you through some of the tools. So that's going to be on Saturday. And I would love it if you could share this link with the people you know and your friends, because, many of you know that I'm just kind of putting myself out there for the first time, and I could use everybody's help to get the word out. If you could cut and paste this link or just forward that email that I sent to all of you yesterday. So I would appreciate it.
If I can just put a little spin on this too, which is that, I'll speak for myself, but I know that there are a lot of you here that have really benefited from Masami's wisdom and teaching, especially over the past year. I'm fortunate that I get to interact with her every day. And I just want to say that this program that's coming up is really a culmination of what she has been developing for more than 20 years through her work with clients and with groups and consulting and giving public talks, all the work that she has done. This program that the Shift Network has picked up is really tapping into the core of that. And so, like we were talking about, what are the simple things that you can focus on in this world of complexity? And her program that's coming up is really in part an answer to that, about how we can live in relation to this crazy world and still be whole and still stay on our feet and love and move forward in life. So I encourage all of you, and it's an exciting time to be able to grow this with all of you.
Yeah, thank you.
There's a question about, will there be a replay? There are always replays with anything on the Shift Network. And
what we do and
yeah,
what
and
we
what
do
we
here.
do. And this link that I just posted up is for the YouTube channel where we post these replays for all of the Monday calls. I like Andrew's idea. He was calling it Monday with MC. We've played around with this idea of MC squared because our last name is Covey, so like MCC, Masami and Chris Covey. So we'll see. Who knows?
Thank you, everyone, for forwarding and spreading the word. I really, really appreciate it because, I need to stop saying that I'm a small timer. But in a way, I don't have a best-selling book. Nobody knew me a year ago. So, but I put myself out there because I knew that my inner guys were like, it's time. You've got to stop hiding away. So I'm out there, and the Shift Network picked up on my work. So I'm very excited. And this course is called The Anatomy of Your Cosmic Flow. The Anatomy of Your Cosmic Flow. And we're going to go through 7 Bs. So, and they're new stuff, so for those of you that have taken my 4 Bs, if you can't, please sign up for 7 weeks. Plus I'm doing a bonus call as well. So there'll be 8 calls plus worksheets and, all kinds of PDFs. And I have brand new stuff to share because some of you have asked me, I've signed up. Is it the same information? I think you know me by now that I'm not a stagnant person. I'm always channeling stuff. I'm always learning things, and I love it because I'm excited to share this. But the 7 Bs are breath, brain, and we're going to go into bile, boundaries. We're going to expand the boundaries more. So I'm going to have an extra call on that one. And we're going to go into bones, and we're going to go into blood. And the last one is the body of bliss. And the body of bliss, Chris is going to join me to co-teach this. So it's going to be quite fun. I think it's going to be pretty amazing in terms of body, mind, spirit, because you know me, I love the body. So I'm going to bring this in full on into the cosmic level. So
I want to jump in just there.
And then we have to make sure to talk about the skin.
We will.
Okay.
We will. Just some nice comments I wanted to read out from Lynn. Very excited for you, Masami. We'll definitely share the link. And Carla, thank you for this important point. This is a good reminder. She's already signed up, but she says you only get the replay link if you sign up ahead of time. So make sure you sign up before Saturday. So you've got
I had no idea.
I didn't know that either. Thanks, Carla. So Mary, thank you, Mary Basse. She says you're not small time anymore, baby. It's your time. We love you.
Thank you.
And then Samantha wanted to know, how do we best send kudos for about Masami to the Shift Network? I would say, if you're on the summit that she just did, either of the summits that she did, you can comment on those. They will often send you a feedback prompt. So if you haven't done that, you can do that. But also after this program is over, you'll have a similar invitation to do that. But you can always reach out to them. You can always just send them an unsolicited email and tell them. So thank you for those comments. And we're getting a lot of other people. Susanna saying that she's going to share it with everybody. And other people are definitely signing up. Deborah, thank you. And Andrew says that your info is a book in itself. Well, yes, Andrew, and more to come on that.
Yeah, no, that's the reach that I'm putting out there into the universe. So my guys and I have some plans for the book.
Yeah.
They already have plans, so it's good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's definitely answer the question, okay, about the skin that I promised last week. Okay, are we okay to go there?
Yeah, really quick, just there's a question from Susanna about the link. There was an error on the time that went out on our email. We had a time change issue that we had an error on. The time is going to be 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. 1 o'clock Eastern time. So if you can make your conversions from there, and Susanna, it looks like your GMT, so you will be
I think 8
6
o'clock
o'clock.
there.
No, 6 o'clock GMT.
Oh, it
That's
is?
correct.
Oh, you're
'Cause
right.
7
I'm
hours
sorry.
ahead of us in Mountain Time.
Us. Yeah. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
But
So
double check the website is correct. So
yeah, we were incorrect on that one. So yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so the question that came in a couple of weeks ago was about tissue issues, and she's been having prolapses, and that was the main question. But then Chris and I were talking about how that will show up to saggy skin and thinning skin. So we just kind of wanted to talk mainly about the skin today. And skin is an interesting organ, right? It's not something that you want to dismiss it as, oh, just an external thing. But skin is right now considered to be the largest organ. But there's a little debate going on right now in the medical world that maybe it's the lymphatic system, that we should see it as more of an organ. And if that's the case, the lymphatic system will be the largest organ at some point, but currently it's the skin. And in the world of nutritional therapy that we're involved in more, we consider the gut microbial world as also one of the largest organs as well, because we have microbial elements, 100 trillion microbes and so on and so forth. They all kind of come together in that whole conglomerate of it could be seen as an organ, because they impact your neurotransmitters, they impact your hormone productions, they impact your absorptions, they impact your moods. So, those are kind of the side note, but the skin is a very large expression of you. And whenever you start to experience things on your skin, the number one place that you want to go look at is your small intestine. Because the lining of your small intestine, if it's inflamed, if it's been injured, it's been, you've had lots of yeast and fungal overgrowth, and maybe there's a lot of biofilm in there, or the villi, those are little shaggy carpet things all along the small intestinal lining. If they've been injured or they've been inflamed, and then they become shorter and shorter and shorter and become really raw, then that's going to show up on your external skin as well. So you want to make sure what's expressing on the skin. You need to go into the small intestine, see what can I do to support that. And skin, whether it's bumpy skin, like elasticity is gone, or saggy skin under the chin, or so on and so forth, it really comes down to one of the most important things. It's not just the one thing, but you really want to look at, how am I digesting fats? Okay, that might totally surprise many of you, but how you're digesting fats is going to determine how well you're going to maintain your skin. And skin isn't just the outside, but there's a skin inside too, right? So making sure that you're getting a variety of fats. So it's not just omega-6s. Omega-6s will show up on if you eat out. So if you get a lot of takeouts, if you eat a lot of restaurant foods, you're going to be exposed to a lot of omega-6s. Or if you're buying organic potato chips and things like that are being fried with sunflower oil, safflower oil, seed-based oils. They're very delicate oils. So I wouldn't eat that. I would not touch that. Okay. But if you eat a lot of that, then that's going to show up as inflammatory skin issues. That's going to inflame your small intestine, and that's going to definitely cause your skin to not look vibrant. Okay. And then also you want to make sure you're getting some saturated fats. But if you eat too much sugar, white foods with the saturated fats, that's going to take your body to an inflammatory cascade. So anytime you take your body to inflammatory cascades, you're going to see it in that person's skin. Skin will look grayish. They will thin. You bruise easily. Those can be, malnourishment too, by the way. And then the last kind of oil that you really want to get is also omega-3s. So you want to get omega-6s, omega-3s, and saturated fats. And the key is not to combine a lot of these fats with white and sugary foods. And then do not put seed oils through heat, because if you cook with them or you buy products that have been fried in that kind of a seed oil, you are going to be consuming things that are very inflammatory to your body. That's going to show up on your outer skin, and you're going to lose elasticity. And, you know, this is when you're going to be looking into prolapses and saggy skins and thinning skin. And one of my very first clients was a doctor that she was a surgeon that worked with the prolapses a lot. And she was saying that was such a common surgery these days. And, you know, she had a very busy practice, but, you know, it was hard to convince her that the food had something to do with it, but digestion matters. So I will pause here for a moment. I'm sure Chris has some things to add about the skin. So
yeah, I don't want to overcomplicate it, because our theme being complexity and not being caught in complexity, I don't want to give you too many things to take away, but you have to remember that the skin is connective tissue also. And all of the connective tissues in our bodies also require not just the absorption and the fat digestion and using those to make healthy cell structures, but also the protein that you take in from your food has to be digested primarily in your stomach. And it's those proteins that go to build up the strength of those tissues and give them their elasticity. Things like collagen come from protein sources. And so you need those in order to keep that elasticity and the strength in your skin tissue. And just a really quick, Janice, to your question about no heating your olive oil, just to use it after you've cooked. Don't put it on the stove with heat.
Yeah, so let me see, Chris. The olive oil, everyone, do not cook with it. Okay, it can take about 180 Fahrenheit. So that's a pretty low heat in terms of sauteing. So do not use olive oil to cook. It's a dressing, you know, it's something you put it over after you've cooked. That will be the best way to use olive oil. And I'm sorry, I interjected, Krista. I'm just going to answer her question about what oils we use to cook. We use 90% of the time, we use ghee. Chris will make ghee 2-3 times a month. And it's made out of the organic, unsalted butter, and we'll melt it and cook it slowly for about 25 to 30 minutes and let it turn to golden color, and we strain it through the cheesecloth. And I actually take an extra step. Usually after it cools down, I put it by the window, or in the summer, I put it outside also. And I let the sun shine into my ghee. And then I actually put it out in the night, also leave it out there so that the moonlight can come in also. So we're getting some beautiful energies coming through that too. So that's the fats that the ghee is our favorite fat to cook with. Sometimes we'll mix butter a little bit. But if you mix butter and ghee together, the smoke point can go up so that the butter doesn't start to separate. Okay, so that's our go-to. Avocado oil is another one that we occasionally use, but often more for making our own mayonnaise. And we do save some bacon fats too whenever we have bacon. So that's kind of some of the fats we use.
Couple quick points that people are chatting about. Yeah, Melinda, if you're using organic grass-fed ghee, you can buy it. We choose to make it just because it's, we're like that. We make most of what we eat. And then the other, refrigerating it isn't necessary, Janice. You actually probably will use it long before it would have any danger of going rancid. It can last for several weeks.
And my Ayurveda teacher always said, never refrigerate your ghee. Never make that golden liquid cold. So it'll just solidify on its own in the room temperature and keep it. In the summertime, it gets a little melty, which is fine. We use it fast enough that we don't need to refrigerate it in the summer either. But usually do not refrigerate. That's what my Ayurveda teacher told me. Okay. Coconut oil is a great question. I have to say, I think Chris and I both, you can tell me what you thought, Chris, but we kind of got sick of coconut oil about 4 years ago. Like we just couldn't take it anymore. Everything was coconut oil. And another thing that we got sick of was quinoa. So we haven't touched quinoa for like 4 years. We got quite sick of kale too, to be honest with you. So last year we didn't eat a lot of kale. We were just like, oh my God, please don't talk about kale anymore. So, but the coconut oil is not something we use much anymore. Only time that I use coconut oil is in the heat of the summer, because coconut oil is a yin fat, okay, yin and yang, and it's a yin fat. So it's actually cooling to your system, right? So if you want to cool down because it's so hot in the middle of the summer, then a coconut oil is great. And I sometimes will use coconut oil if I'm having some, itchy spots or like a rashes. I would recommend people to make a little coconut oil with the lavender oil, maybe just a little oregano oil to make a little lotion, and put it over if they're having some yeast infections or some kind of a candidiasis rashes or something. That's kind of how I use coconut oil now. So we don't consume coconut oil much anymore.
Can I just add to that, the part of the reason why we don't use it as much is because we found that it's actually a highly refined fat when it comes down to it. If you were to eat a coconut, you would not be getting that pure of a concentration of the coconut oil itself. It is a great source for saturated fat, and you absolutely need saturated fat to build healthy cells. That's what your brain is largely made out of. That's what your cell membranes are made out of, for the most part. So you need it. But yeah, we found that the ghee is a much milder fat on the system for digestion. And so we're not eating these large, concentrated, refined oils. And then,
well, and ghee is tridoshic, everyone. So what that means is in Ayurveda, you have different doshas, right? It's ghee is basically very calming to all your doshas. So it's great for people like me who is a vata pitta. It's very calming for me. It doesn't, make Chris too sluggish and exhausted because he's got a lot of kapha in him. It doesn't do that. It's very neutral for all of us. So I would recommend going with ghee. And then even you have a dairy sensitivity or so, because you're straining all that out, you shouldn't have major issues with that. Okay. And always store any fats in glass, every fat, always in the glass. Never buy the fats that come in plastics. I mean, that alone is so toxic already. Don't do it. So if you have to spend $3 extra because it comes in a glass jar, so be it. Do that. Okay. That's very important, because fats are what's going to impact your skin the most. Okay. Skin and the cell membranes require really good quality fats. So you don't want to, accidentally even feed yourself a rancid fat. And fats are what causes so many of us to have inflammatory conditions on our joints and tissues and different parts of our bodies. Like a lot of the aches and pains that you get, a lot of it is actually because you consumed rancid fats. Rancid fats are probably one of the biggest issues of us becoming like aging, quickly. And we're all going to age, but quick aging often comes from rancid fats. So see if you could do a cleanup of the fats in the next month or two and stop using that.
As we're wrapping up here, I just want to say, Iris, your question, I'll just make that a stand-in for a more general comment on fats. Masami already mentioned it, but I'll just say it again. So if you're eating these more heat susceptible kinds of fats like omega-6 fat, like sunflower seed oil, if it's cold pressed, if it hasn't gone through a heat or chemical process, it's generally going to be beneficial to you. You'll get the original nutritional quality content from that food. So whether it's a sesame or a sesame sunflower seed type butter, as long as it hasn't been put through the heat or chemical process, it should be okay. And the same goes for cooking oils and oils of any kind. So again, like potato chips, if they're fried, they've been put through heat. So just kind of use your common sense on that. So
And Janice, if you're Vata constitution, I mean, nobody's just one constitution, just so you know. Everybody's tridoshic, right? We all have 3 doshas. It's just the percentage is different. So I don't use coconut oil pretty much never, but only time that I use is in the summertime, like I said, right? So you could maybe do the same thing if you're more high in Vata, then don't use the coconut on your skin during the most of the year. But maybe, you know, if you're having some skin issues in the summer, I don't see why not. You could try that. Okay. But that's, you know, it's not something that I recommend it to everyone all the time. I think coconut oil has gone a little too far in this country. We've gone a little nuts with it, and it's not serving everyone quite well. So just wanted to make sure to touch upon that. And some of you are sending me a private messages, and I tend to not go over those, just so you know, because I'm trying to have everybody look at it. So Marilyn, you asked me about your CBD cream with the 22 essential oils, and then you started to feel nauseous and insomniac. Your doctor recommended to put that on. My instant thought was like, oh my gosh, why are there 22 essential oils in there? Okay, so that's the complexity that I'm talking about. Okay, just because one is good for you, that doesn't mean 22 essential oils are going to be good for you. Okay. And they don't always interact the same way. Some of them are antagonistic to each other. So I'm not a huge fan of too many ingredients. And that goes for our cooking too. Chris and I cook a lot, but we cook very simply. We don't do crazy amount of 15 different spices. Like, we don't do a lot of that. So, and then when you're doing the CBD, it goes right into your bloodstream too. So I think you were getting nauseous through the 22 essential oils. So maybe you could get the one that has like 2 essential oils in there and start there. I think I would go there. All right. Anything else that we will probably wrap up here, but
yeah, I guess I have a quote.
You're welcome, Dixie. Yeah.
So I have a quote that I was going to share earlier, and it relates to the topic of complexity. It's something that it comes from a Sufi teacher, Inayat Khan, and here's what he says. He says, "The plain truth is too simple for the seeker after complexity, who is looking for things he cannot understand." Okay, I'll read that again. The plain truth is too simple for the seeker after complexity, who is looking for things he cannot understand. And I just want to, whether it's food, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's information, I encourage you to ask yourself if you're getting caught in that. And I want to just add one more thing that Inayat Khan says about complexity. He says humans like complexity. We don't want to take on only just one step. It's more interesting for us to look forward to millions of steps. So the person who's seeking the truth gets into a maze, and that maze interests him. He wants to go through it 1,000 times more. It's just like children. Their whole interest is in running about. They do not want to see the door and go in until they're very tired. So it is with grown-up people. They all say that they are seeking truth, but they like the maze. This is why the mystics made the greatest truths a mystery, to be given only to the few who are ready for them, letting the others play because it was the time for them to play. So I want to just put that out there as it makes me laugh sometimes to read that quote, because we all do this. And it's just something we need to remember and know that we do. And it's okay that we do it, but we can come back to it and catch ourselves when we find ourselves seeking complexity, especially unnecessarily. So like Masami said, we have this idea these days as consumers that if one thing is good for us, that 10 of those things is 10 times better. And it just doesn't work that way. Sometimes 10 times of one good thing means you just gave yourself diarrhea. Okay. It's not always a benefit. So what you have to do is use your common sense. You have to really ask yourself, is this good for me right now? Is this what I need right now? What is the priority in my life right now? And answer that question.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's good. And I know there's some questions coming in, but we'll talk about the oil pulling and things because that can get into too much right now. But, Annette asked, is it okay to do the oil pulling every day? I think Chris might have answered that question. Is there such thing as every day? Yes. Is there such thing as every day the same practice? Maybe. So I have my own thoughts about oil pulling, but I think you guys are picking up on it. I don't believe in doing it every day at all. So I would just pull back a little bit. If your tendency is to just go like everything but the kitchen sink, then pull back a little bit and say, I think I'm just going to relax about this. I don't need 22 essential oils with this. So give yourself a little break. And within the complexity, please respect the fact that your body hasn't changed that much from your ancestors, hasn't changed that much. So we have to respect the physiology and the biology side of it and the evolution of our human bodies and balance that out with the complexities of the world that we're exposed to and we're living in. So see what you can do there. All right. And then we'll wrap up, Chris.
One final thought on complexity is if you look at the field of complexity as containing all the opportunities that are available to you, and you're doing the same things day after day after day after day after day, year after year after year, you are systematically excluding opportunity from your life. So I want you to just think about that. If you're doing something all the time, you are systematically eliminating other things from being able to come to you. That principle applies with nutrition. If you're eating the exact same things all the time, you are systematically depriving yourself of other nutrients that are not part of what you do all the time. So just use this idea and this opportunity as we flex into complexity, that's where the opportunities also lie for all of us. That's all.
Yeah, good. And I know we keep saying this is the last thing, but remember everyone that heart rate variability equals good health, right? If you're just doing the same thing and the same heart rate going on all the time, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign for your health. So variations, changes, seasonal, play around, don't overdo it. If you feel overwhelmed, that's a sign to slow down and respect the fact that you are still this physiology that still comes from ancestors that didn't have internets and all this complexity. So it's a lot to contend with, but it's the paradox that we hold within ourselves that makes our journey forward a little bit more grounded and smooth. So be kind to yourself. Don't overdo it, and don't do the 22 essential oils on your body. Please, just choose 2. All right. So that's all I have for you guys today or this week. And look forward to seeing or you guys watching my Saturday interview. Look forward to it. And then I'll be back and Chris will be back with Monday with Masami and Chris next Monday. So look forward to them. Bye, everyone.